Welcome back to Late to the Party. It's the hottest new TV/movie/game review show on the face of the earth, where I talk about stuff that's already been out for a while, but I'm just now getting around to experiencing, making me pretty late to the party. Today, we're talking about Naughty Dog's 2020 release. It's The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I gotta be honest, I did finish this game like 3 to 4 months ago, way before I even started making this whole Late to the Party series, but with as much hype as there is right now revolving around the new HBO show's adaptation of the first game, I figured I'd go back and talk about the second game because it is one of my favorite narratives of any type of story ever, and I just love talking about it. Big spoilers ahead. Now, on a technical level, this game is a marvel to look at. It plays so incredibly, and the world that they have built looks so beautiful, and it blows my mind that this game can run on a console from 2014. Granted, it is going to sound like you have a mini jet engine in your room, but it's still pretty impressive. The gameplay is very fluent, and the combat is brutal, making for so many different interesting ways you can approach waves of enemies, making for the gameplay to be some of the best from any Naughty Dog title. Now, this game's story cracked open the fan base like Joel's cranium after Abby's killer golf skills, and it tore the fans apart. This game split people into two groups: the people who thought this game was a masterpiece, and the people who thought this was the most dog-dookie sequel of all time and tarnished the legacy of the first game. And I'm here to tell you why all those people in that second category are big stupid dum-dums, and they're wrong. I feel like there were two key components that made all the haters hate the game, and that's the heartbreaking death of Joel Miller and Abby's overall existence, and the fact that you play as her for 3 in-game days, which is like 6 hours of gameplay. Now, we need to peel back some of these layers as to why Joel's death was so impactful and completely justified on Abby's part. In The Last of Us Part 1, at the end of the game, when Ellie is on the operating table to have a vaccine created from her due to her immunity to the cordyceps infection that's plagued all of mankind, Joel finds out that the surgery is going to kill Ellie. Joel then goes on a massive killing spree, killing all these fireflies in the hospital to get to Ellie, and when he finally arrives at the operating room, the main doctor performing the surgery attempts to stand up to Joel, but it doesn't end too well. And it is later revealed in the second game that that main doctor was Abby's father. Abby wanted revenge, and rightfully so. Joel took away her father from her, leading her to unfortunately kill Joel in the early missions of The Last of Us 2.
I'm gonna find. And I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
Ellie's entire revenge plot ensues as she goes to hunt down Abby and all the other people that were involved in the death of Joel. Both Ellie and Abby lost their father/father figures, giving them both equal reasons to do what they do throughout this entire story. Ellie goes to Seattle hunting down the Wolves, which is a group that Abby is a part of. During those first 3 days in Seattle playing as Ellie, you take out lots of enemies as you hunt down for Abby, and at the end of the 3rd day, Abby runs up on Ellie and is holding her at gunpoint, and the game fades to black, resetting the clock of those 3 days, and you replay those 3 days as Abby. Now, yes, I'll say for me personally, it was a bit jarring immediately getting snapped away from Ellie and restarting those 3 days as Abby, and I won't lie, I did just want to go back to playing as Ellie, and I was like, why do I gotta play as the villain? I still wanted her dead at that point. But as you go back and play those first 3 days again as Abby, the story unfolds and reveals so many more layers to the story, and that by the end of day 3 as Abby and the Ellie-Abby timeline finally converges again, I didn't want either of them to die. This is a story about revenge and the consequences that those actions have, and having to live with those choices in this already ruined world. It's a deep, deep narrative that brings the player through a roller coaster of emotions. At first, I felt sadness and anger after Joel's death, and then I began to feel empathy for this ox of a woman after I saw her 3 days play out and all the things that she went through, and I felt every emotion in between. Now I want to talk about Ellie and her heartbreaking end in this story. She stated in The Last of Us Part 1 when talking to Lil Sam,
"How is it that you're never scared?"
Who says that I'm not?
What are you scared of?
Let's see. Being by myself. I'm scared of ending up alone.
her biggest fear is ending up alone. And in the events of the second game, all these bloodthirsty actions drive wedges in all of Ellie's relationships as she becomes more and more obsessed with finding and killing Abby and all the people that were involved in Joel's murder. As the Abby-Ellie timeline converges again, Abby ends up sparing Ellie and just tells her that she never wants to see her again. Ellie goes off to live with Dina and help raise the child that Dina had. Ellie finally has a nice, quiet, calm life and seems to have finally moved on from all that past trauma, even though she'll occasionally get PTSD flashbacks. Tommy, Joel's brother, goes and visits Ellie and tells her about a rumor as to where Abby might be. Even though Ellie has this calm life away from all the drama, her dark and vengeful side reveals itself again as she leaves Dina to go squash this beef with Abby once and for all. Ellie begins her journey to go find Abby again, runs into Logic, gets a cool new gun, and finally catches up to Abby. They have a bloody fight in the water, ending in Ellie sparing Abby, and she goes home to find Dina to find the house completely empty, with the game ending with Ellie walking off, being all alone, which absolutely just broke my heart and put me in the most depressing mood for like a week after finishing this game. The sparing of Abby's life was another thing that made a lot of players upset because this is an entire revenge plot and you didn't even get revenge at the end, which I can see that side of the argument, but you need to think about what was really going on in Ellie's head. Abby, like Joel in the first game, was caring for someone little, Lev. And I think that may have played a part in it when Ellie is about to kill Abby and she gets one last Joel flashback, making her realize that all along it wasn't Abby that she needed to get right with in her head. It was Joel. Joel and Ellie's relationship was very strained after Ellie finds out that Joel prevented the vaccine from getting made and that Ellie's life would have meant something. But she felt as if Joel completely robbed her of that, which he did. Joel's death occurred shortly after Joel and Ellie were finally starting to make amends again, and I think it was that really haunted Ellie throughout this whole story. And if all you Last of Us 2 haters can't see that and why you're wrong about this game, then I don't even know what to tell you, but just, you're wrong. This game is so amazing and one of the most rich and deep narratives I've ever experienced. I flew through this 20-hour-long story in about a weekend. I was just so invested and I could not put down the controller until I was done. And I'm pretty excited to see how HBO is going to try and tackle this monster of a story because as of me filming this today, a season 2 for their adaptation just got announced. But nevertheless, The Last of Us Part 2 is a masterpiece, and anyone who says otherwise must just be an infected person. So 5 clickers out of 5.